allowed my boss to go beyond his boundaries I have regretted in my life. The first time it happened, it was so small I almost missed it. A hand on my shoulder as he leaned over to see my screen, the pressure lingering a few seconds longer than necessary. I froze, my fingers hovering over the keyboard, a phantom warmth seeping through my blouse. Before we continue, kindly like and subscribe to Storyroom Lab for more interesting stories. I told myself I was imagining it. Mr. Croft was just a touchy-feely person, a charismatic leader who blurred the lines to foster a family atmosphere. It's just his way, Sarah from accounting had whispered to me once, noticing my stiff posture. I nodded, forcing a smile. I needed this job. The compliments started next. "That color really makes your eyes pop, Elara," he'd say in a team meeting, his gaze fixed on me while others shifted uncomfortably. In private, they became more direct. "You have an incredible mind, you know. It's a rare combination, beauty and brains." Each word was a brick, slowly building a wall between me and the rest of the office. I felt their eyes on my back, their silent judgments. But a treacherous part of me preened under the attention. After years of feeling invisible, being seen by a man of his power was a potent drug. I allowed it. That's the part that haunts me. I allowed the late-night work sessions to become the norm. I allowed the debriefing drinks that stretched into 2 glasses of wine. I laughed a little too loudly at his jokes, met his gaze for a beat too long. I was playing a dangerous game, one whose rules I didn't understand, convincing myself I was in control. The turning point was the Henderson account. It was my project, my design that had won them over. At the celebratory dinner, Mr. Croft, David, as he'd insisted I call him in these settings, sat beside me. His knee pressed against mine under the table. I didn't move away. The contact was electric, a current of transgression that made my heart hammer. He was married. I was his employee. The wrongness of it was the very thing that made it feel thrilling. "Come back to the office with me," he murmured, his breath warm against my ear as the party disbanded. "We should toast to your success properly. I have a bottle of Macallan 18 in my cabinet." Every alarm bell in my head was clanging, but I looked at his face, at the undisguised desire there, and I felt powerful. I felt chosen. "I'd like that," I said, and the words felt like someone else's. In his corner office, with the city lights glittering like a bed of diamonds below, the atmosphere shifted. The charming boss was gone, replaced by something hungrier. He poured the whiskey, our fingers brushing as he handed me the heavy crystal tumbler. "You're not like the others, Elara," he said, stepping closer. "You're special." He touched my cheek, and this time it wasn't a fleeting graze. His thumb traced my jawline. I stood frozen, the glass cold in my hand. This was the line. The one I knew we shouldn't cross. The one I had been walking towards for months. I should go," I whispered, but my feet were rooted to the floor. "Don't," he said, his voice low. And then he kissed me. It wasn't gentle or questioning. It was a claim. And in that moment, the thrilling fantasy shattered, replaced by the cold, hard reality of what was happening. The power I thought I had was an illusion. I was in my boss's office after hours, his mouth on mine, his hand sliding to the small of my back, pulling me against him. I allowed it. I stood there and let it happen, my mind screaming in a panic my body refused to obey. I had allowed things to go so far that there was no graceful way back. To pull away now would be to insult him, to ruin the carefully constructed dynamic, to potentially lose everything. He broke the kiss, his eyes searching mine. "My apartment is closer than yours," he said, a statement, not a question. And that's when I found my voice. It was small, cracked, but it was mine. "No." He blinked as if he didn't understand the word. "No. I can't," I said, stepping back, my legs finally obeying. The spell was broken, leaving only a residue of shame and fear. "I have to go." The drive home was a blur. I walked into my dark apartment, the silence deafening. I looked at myself in the hallway mirror. My lipstick was smudged, my eyes wide with a wild, trapped fear. This wasn't a story of seduction. It was a story of my own complicity, of how I had bartered little pieces of my dignity for crumbs of validation, and almost lost it all. I didn't quit the next day. I went in head held high, my professional mask firmly in place. But something had changed. I declined the late-night sessions. I kept my office door open. I redirected his personal compliments back to my work. It was a quiet, unspoken defeat for him. But for me it was a victory. I had finally stopped allowing it. I had finally drawn the line, not with a dramatic scene, but with the simple, terrifying, powerful word, no. The cost of going too far was a self-knowledge I never wanted, but the reward was the hard-won understanding of where I, and I alone, must stand.